besties out there. Welcome to another episode of The Bestie Advice with your host, Dr. Reen Abrams. Hey, Irene.
Hey, girl.
And me, Karan Hayes. And we are very excited about this episode on today. We will be talking about transitioning from parenting teens to parenting young adults. And we have our babies on here. Oops, I'm sorry, our young adults on here. We have Irene's son, Marcello Cole. Hey, Marcello. Good to have you on here.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
And we have my daughter, Jasmine Hayes. Hey, Jazzy.
Hey,
Jazzy. So this particular conversation, again, it's about parenting young adults. And as you all know, the bestie advice is all things relationships. That's what we talk about. All things relationships, from relationships with your spouse and your friends and your co-workers and your church members and your neighbors. We decided that we want to talk about relationships with our young adults. Now, this can actually be sometimes a hard transition. I know for me, I'm still transitioning. We have not transitioned with an ED. I am transitioning. I am still in the process of letting go. And I'm sure you too, Irene, can agree. But we just wanted to share with you all and just kind of provide some wisdom and some insight, and then also just hear from and Marcello, in regards to how they're feeling and how the transition is for them, because I'm sure it's not easy for either of them as well. But we're going to go ahead and just jump right on in. And I just want to open up as far as with this reading that I found on today on the internet, where it says, your diaper changing and chauffeuring days are over. Whether you feel relieved or conflicted about this change, it's time to embrace your child's independence and enjoy a new phase of parenthood. So basically, I took that as in, you got to let go, right? It's time to let go. We are no longer holding their hands, crossing the street. We're not longer going in their room saying, hey, put that shirt on, put those shoes on, unless they ask, they may ask you, your opinion, your advice. But now it's about kind of stepping back and allowing them to be the young man and the young woman that you have kind of trained and molded with the help of God, that is. But you kind of trained, you've molded, you've poured into them, you prayed over them. So it's like that bird, that mother bird that kind of pushes the little bird out of the nest, like, fly, birdie, fly. That's where we're at now. And sometimes that can be, just a little bit hard. What do you think about that, Irene?
Yeah, it's really hard. I was thinking about this show earlier and thinking about the transition, kind of like when you said parenting different, you really develop a friendship, with your child as they're becoming a young adult. Like, I find that Marcello is easier for him to talk to me now than when he was younger. And maybe I'm more receptive to hearing it now that he's older. But it's definitely hard. I've had several breakdowns, like crying, like, I can't believe this, they're not young forever. But I definitely think it's hard. But at the same time, it's so exhilarating to watch. And I'm getting like emotional. It's so exhilarating to watch this little person that you've raised become this amazing adult, and you look at this person and you see, like, oh my God, like for him, I'm like, oh my God, this is a man, right before my eyes, a man of God, like he's a good person.
Yeah.
And it makes me proud, when I see the things that he's doing and the decisions that he's making. And so for me, it was very hard because I just didn't want to let go. But watching the man that he's becoming makes me so proud. And I thank God every day, for who he's becoming and what impact he's going to make in the world. So
yes,
I've really been like, oh my gosh, just thinking about once he graduates like from this level in school and enters in the workforce and becomes a husband and a father, it makes me happy because I know that everything that I've poured out is in him, and watching that seed grow, and just come forth as like this fruit. So I'm definitely, happy and proud, but it's a transition. And his school helped me, because when we went to enroll, they were like, parents, no, you can't do this, and you can't do that, you can't do this.
I remember that. I remember that day. Yes. I do remember that day. It was the same experience as far as with Jasmine. So they actually went down there, maybe 2 days prior to us coming down, as far as for orientation for you all. And then it was time for the parents to come down. It's like, okay, come on, parents, you all come in this room. We're going to talk to you all. And then it was like, okay, now it's time for you all to leave. And we're going to talk to just the students now, because we're going to tell them, like when it comes to their grades, how they're able to access their grades. And I'm thinking, well, I need to be in there. Well, no, mom, she's over the age of 18. If she wants you to have that access, you can. It's kind of like when it's time to go to the doctor. Now, before we were all in the room, we're taking off the pamper, we're putting the pamper back on, they're getting their shots, we're holding their hands. And then they get to a certain age. And I think, I don't know, it might be 13 now, because they always ask my husband when it comes to James, like, James, do you want your father to stay in the room? Time out. You don't get no choice. Daddy gonna be in here. Well, no, he actually does have a choice. So, even as far as with that letting go and letting them be who they are, and just trusting that they are going to make just the best decisions.
Yeah. So Jasmine and Marcello, I have a question. What has been the biggest change for you guys, like from teenagers to being the young adults?
Yes.
So either one of you guys I want both of you to answer, but whoever goes first is fine.
Jazzy, you want to go first?
No, you can go first. Go ahead.
I would say the biggest change for us, well, for me at least, was probably just like probably having to like figure things out for ourselves, and just like, because I know you guys always like told us about like your experiences and stuff, and I know us being young, we're naive and we don't really want to listen to it. But growing up, it was just us having to like figure that out for ourselves, and like actually going out and doing it, instead of just like, hearing what you guys said. I mean, I know you guys are just trying to help, but it's just like when you get to that certain age, you just want to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. I can definitely add to that. I was gonna say, the same thing as Cello, like having to do it for yourself. Because I know growing up, you guys are both amazing parents. And like, you guys will always be there no matter what the situation is, even if it's like calling somebody important. We're like, okay, what should we say? What should we say? Okay, what should I say next?
Yes.
But now it's like, okay, but my mom isn't here. Like, I can't call her to ask what I should. Well, I can sometimes. But for the most part, it's like you being in the moment of things, you have to make the decision for yourself. And it's a great experience. And knowing that like you guys taught us and instilled certain things into us, seeing us like seeing myself do it, like it's a nice experience to have. So,
and I do like the fact is that when it does come to you all, that, and I know Irene has shared with me as well, with you, Marcello, yes, you may get the phone call, but you will call and say, I'm going to tell them what you think. Or Jazzy will type up a whole email and she's like, this is what I'm going to tell my professor. This is what I'm going to actually tell the management company. What do you think? So one, I do appreciate the fact that she does value, my opinion. She still values what I think, or whatever. Where she's like, I got this, or whatever. It's like, no, she still values what we think, they value what we think, they appreciate our advice, even though sometimes they still, they're gonna do what they want to do, but they still appreciate our advice. They want to hear, what we have to say. So I do like that, and I appreciate that.
So I have another question for both of you guys. Thinking about like what I said, how the transition is when you guys are little, it's very much, for lack of a better word, like authoritative. So we kind of say, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. Even when you were having a conversation, it's still more of almost hierarchy, like parent to child, child to parent. You guys sometimes can be fearful to say things, but as you get older, particularly, I would say not even 18, but like 19, 20, 21, Marcella, you're now 22, Jazzy, you're about to be 22. The relationship begins to change where there's always a reverence of, I don't want to use the word fear, but there's always a reverence of, I'm not going to just be wilding out talking to my parent, but there becomes a moment where the conversation can be more open, the topics can be more open, and it's more like you're talking to your friend, or you're getting advice from a friend. I'm using that word loosely, but for both of you, do you feel more open than when you were younger, that you can come to, Kirana, myself, about things now and speak freely than when you were younger, where it's more of a friend conversation?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I would say that I've always had like a transparent relationship with my mom, but as of like recently, me getting more into like romantic relationships, I feel like I've been able to be more open with my mom versus like having those certain conversations with my friend versus with my mom. Like, obviously, I'm not telling her everything, but the stuff that I know that my mom she's gonna give me like solid advice for that. I can't just go to a friend and ask. Like, I'll go to my mom for it. Right. So I do believe, yes, there definitely is a transition, but it's because I've gotten older and I'm more exposed to different things, such as like romantic relationships.
I would also say the same thing, but for me, it's just that the idea that we know that you guys have already experienced like what we're going through now, it makes it easier for us to open up to you guys. Because I know when I was younger, I used to keep a lot of things in like high school, but as I got older, I was like, I don't have to really hide anything in because you guys went through the same things that we did. So who would know better than you guys?
Yeah, and even to add to that, I feel like even with both of your parenting styles, well, from what I've seen, Karen, you're like mom, but I was gonna say, like, you guys are very transparent. You're not the type of parents to like withhold information, because I feel like that kind of creates barriers where the child can't be open with the parent, but you guys are very transparent. And like Chella was saying, it's kind of like, we've been here before, so you can come to us.
Yeah. I know when it comes to me personally, that was something that I actually prayed for prior to even having children, having James. It's something that I prayed for, whereas, it will always be open conversation, that you can always come to us about any and everything. Now, the thing is, when you started coming about any and everything, it was like, brace yourself, Kira, brace yourself, or whatever, because sometimes it can be kind of like a blow, like, what did she just say? But still keeping that same face. You don't want to look too shocked, or whatever. But I appreciate as far as the relationship, because I can just say, as far as with my mom, and I love my mom, love my mom. I give her the utmost respect. But the conversations that I have, or that we have with you being a young adult, I cannot say it was as free
Right.
when I was 21 years old. And not saying that my mom would not answer the question.
Right.
I just believe that we're in a different time.
Absolutely.
And we talked about that before on another show, that we're in a different time when it comes to young people. It's kind of like, okay, this is what it is. Head on. I need to tell you exactly how I'm feeling. And I had feelings, but it's like, okay, mom, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not gonna tell you all of them. I'm just gonna tell you, just as little bit. So we're in a different time. But we do appreciate you all actually coming to us. And if I know, I'm gonna give you the answer. What I don't know, google.com.
Oh yeah, I agree. I definitely want
Yes.
that open relationship. I think with Marcello, when he would come to me and tell me things, I think some of his hesitation is because I'm so protective of him. So like if someone would hurt him or do something, my reaction would be like, who did it? No matter if he was 2 or 22, my reaction is always the same. So even like in his relationship, I was like, I don't want you to get hurt and do this, but like he said, he had to figure out things for himself, but we kept, that open dialogue. And so I wanted to know like, what's going on? How do you feel? How do you feel today? Just because I naturally have that protective nature, and even though Jazzy, you and Marcello, you guys are going to go through the same things we went through and more, different things. Yeah, it's just natural to want to like be there to make sure that you make the right decision, you don't get hurt. Absolutely. But at the same time, be a sounding board and be someone that you can bounce things off of, because even out of your friends, we're always going to give you the right advice, the best advice, because we always have your best interest at heart. But having that open relationship, I think, as your child is getting older, is the best thing that you can do, even when you don't agree. Because my thing is like, I don't care what happens. I don't care what you do. It doesn't matter the magnitude it is. I still want you to be able to come to me, because I'm still going to be there for you. Yes. And I think that I think that that's important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what about you all when it comes to the shifting of like responsibilities as a young adult? So, as far as with you being, when we were children and teens, we took care of everything. Made sure you all have clothes. We provided your needs, what you want. If God blessed us with it, we gave you as much as we could. Made sure you all had meals, kept a shelter and over your head or whatever. So now that you all are transitioning, even though both of you all are in school, it's still like a shifting of responsibilities, because now, you both, you've worked jobs, you work jobs in the summer, you're doing interns, and now you're making like your own money or whatever. How has that been? Has that been a transition for you all? Not saying that you out there paying mortgages and y'all paying car notes, not saying that, but I know as far as things have kind of like shifted, whereas financial, yes, even like the clothes you all may want or whatever. How has that been, or what is that as far as with you all? What has been the shifting of responsibilities for you all?
Okay, you want to go first, the summary?
Yeah, I can. So the shift in responsibility. Well, I know it started when I first came to college, because I know I had to be a lot more responsible than I was in high school, because you don't have anyone waking you up every morning telling you got to go to class. Man, you sort of just gotta get up yourself and go and know what you have to do. And now that we have jobs, we sort of have to, in our own places, we sort of have to keep up with that, because I know I'm paying that off by working every weekend. So it's just, It's a lot. It is a lot. But I feel like college is a good way to ease us into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, coming right out of high school, you're still getting the hang of like, oh, you don't have anyone to wake you up, tell you what to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of just gotta learn for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love the transition. I mean, it's a struggle sometimes because I'm like, girl, you cannot eat out today. No, you need to cook. I'm like, oh my God, this takes effort. Like every little thing, like Chilla was saying, nobody's there to like wake you up. Like, no, you have to get up. You have to go to work on time. You have to go to class on time. This is all on you now. Like,
yes,
these decisions that you make, they're on you and they're going to determine how your life is going to be. So cry sometimes, but you got to keep going. And
yes.
I love it. Like I said, it's a struggle sometimes, but I find it beautiful because I know eventually I am going to be on my own. And like this process, like it's going to go up and down, but I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are like, I always call it the honeymoon phase because you're not babies, teenagers, you're young adults, but college, like Marcello said, is a good way to transition it because, yeah, you guys are waking yourselves up and things like that, but you still have some structure with classes and things like that. We're never going to let you guys go hungry.
Right.
Marcello doesn't even know this. Like, I check his bank account every day, and the Holy Spirit has to. I promise you, I would probably cash app him or Zelle him daily. I would, but Mitchell and the Holy Spirit be like, Irene, we will figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I know that.
I'm sorry to. Yeah, I was just gonna say to piggyback off of that. I know sometimes we do be. Well, I know for sure I'd be struggling. And I'd be looking at it as like me trying to be responsible and saying, "Oh, I don't need it. I'll figure it out."
Yes, same.
But I know sometimes we actually do need the help, and it's not bad to ask. But I don't know. I'm just not the type of person to ask.
No, Marcello. He asked at the craziest times. He'd be like, I'm in the store right now. I'm next. I'm about to step out. And I'm like, oh my God. So
right. Only that's when I'm in like an actual need. If I can figure it out, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like, he already know I'm gonna go crazy. And one time I was at work, I was calling him, Mitchell, you gotta cash out Marcello's money right now. He was like, Irene, calm down.
Yeah, Jazzy she's the same way, but with hers, we're gonna say, hey Jazzy, are you coming home? As far as next week, yes, I'm coming home. And the same thing, I can see her account. And I'm like, do you want me to pay for your ticket? Oh, thank you so much, Mom. Like, all you have to do is just say, hey Mom, can you pay for the ticket? Hey Mom, can you pay for the ticket coming back? Like that. She'd be like, oh yes, thank you so much. It's like don't be down there struggling and not say anything. Say something. But I do appreciate the fact. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jazzy.
I was gonna say sometimes like during this process, I don't always want to ask.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, you'll figure it out. Like, if that means I'm not eating out this weekend, okay. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. I balance out things like, okay, I'll sacrifice this to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't mind when you send cash.
Yeah. And it's like, I think I try to go overboard when it comes to like, okay, I know she's not going to act. So when it's time to go grocery shopping for her down there, I'm like, you sure you don't need this? You sure you don't need that? No, Mom, I'm good. You sure you don't need? No, you sure you don't want to get 2 more cases of water? No, Mom, I'm good. It's like, I want to make sure that you're going to have everything you need. And you don't have to ask anybody else. I want to make sure that you got everything.
I get it. And I think that, I mean, same way when you guys were little, it's the same way how we are now. Like, we don't want you guys to be without, we don't. I remember when my brother lived here and I was so busy and I forgot to pack Marcello's snack when he was in elementary. And I called my brother and I was like, oh my God, I forgot to pack Marcello's snack. And he was like, I think he's going to be fine. And we got into a full-blown argument. And so my brother went, I think he went to McDonald's instead of just getting something out, and took it up to his school. He was like, are you happy now? And I was like, yes, because in my mind, I'm like, I don't want him to be the only one without a snack. I don't want everyone eating cookies and he can't eat. I didn't tell my brother to go to McDonald's, but he did. But it's like, even that's how I am now when I'm like, do you need anything? Do you need anything? Do you need anything? Because even though he's 22, I still see a little kid. I'm like, I don't want you to be without. I don't want you to, you need food. I want to make sure you have it. You need gas in your car. I want to make sure you have it. Because the last thing I want you to be is struggling and hungry, and you don't have to if we have it. So, but I understand you and Marcello, you and Jazzy's mindset of trying to figure it out, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be growing and maturing and trying to figure it out, because like you said, Jazzy, it is a beautiful thing. Getting older it's getting older, but going to different phases in your life can be beautiful. And becoming an adult and stepping into adulthood is beautiful, but it does have those responsibilities. And you guys are in the honeymoon stage because you're becoming adults, you're butterflies, just spreading your wings. But you have your families here and your parents here that can still help you while you learn how to fly. You guys aren't totally just out there, trying to figure it out with no help. You're trying to figure it out, but we have your backs while you're trying to figure it out.
Another thing I wanted to add to that was like, I know time when we will be in need. Well, I know this is for me at least, because I'm grateful for a lot I have, and I don't want to make it seem like, I'm greedy or anything, because I know I'm happy with like a lot of the stuff that I have. And I'm just like, I can figure something out. I don't need to ask him for it. I'm grateful. I can figure it out some type of way. So it's just the idea of not wanting to be too greedy. Well, at least that's how I look at it. I know I don't want to.
I know. Marcello, he has a lot, y'all. He's extremely spoiled. He has a lot. But I appreciate the fact that you appreciate what you have. That makes me happy.
Join us next time for part 2. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.